Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tiny Tim.
Thank you, my dear wonderful friends.
The views expressed on the following broadcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. The dialogue on this show should not be considered as medical, psychiatric, or professional advice and is delivered only as personal opinions from the host, co-host, and guest. KHLT Recovery Broadcasting is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. And now, here are your co-hosts, Nathan A. and the Monty Man.
Plus one. And Mitch Bourgeoisie is with us again this week for part 2 of Resentments. Yes, Tiny Tim.
You opened this up with Tiny Tim.
I did.
I feel like I'm this is in one of those Mondays. I feel like I'm in like a dwarf land. I mean, what is I just like, whoa.
Do you know who Tiny Tim is?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, he's from, isn't he from Miracle on...
No. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, but
Tiny
you're wrong.
Tim. It's Christmas Carol.
Right.
Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, or the Muppets' Christmas Carol, which is the one we always watch every year.
Right.
Yeah, Tiny Tim is a little green frog that has a crutch.
Well, Tiny Tim was Herbert Crowry. Herbert Crowry. He was born in 1932, died in 1996 of congestive heart failure, and he was this guy. He was on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
Yeah, see, that's where I saw him the first time was on Laugh-In.
Yeah, he was on.
What a scandalous show! My parents didn't want to let me watch that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was just too far out there.
Yeah, long, really.
But Goldie Hawn was really, really cute.
Goldie Hawn's still cute.
She is 107 and looks like she was 40.
I know.
Those guys know some secrets or have the money to get some kind of special treatment, I tell you.
But Herbert, Tiny Tim, was actually extremely talented. I had no idea how talented this guy was.
But he's only known for one.
But he's known for one song, and that's "Tiptoe to the Tulips," which he didn't write.
Which he had a great vibrato for that one.
Yeah. But he did some other stuff too.
Wow.
But very.
I thought I was with the
guy.
cool crowd until I heard all that crap.
I know. I know.
Well, let's just get rit of that one right off the bat. No.
Yeah. Well, it was either that or play a Brian Duncan song, and then Mitch would have ran out of here.
I'd have left. Brian, I love you. But yeah.
It's a resentment that goes way back because he didn't get to see the guy. Well, he did get to see him, but not in the order that he wanted to.
One song.
Brian opened, or was supposedly opening for Phil Keaggy, but it ended up that Phil Keaggy, right?
Yeah,
was opening up for Brian,
and we were late.
Yeah,
we were late, so we cruised in, and Phil finished one song. Song, and then Brian Duncan comes on, and I'm going, what? You got to be kidding me! Now, and I know Brian used to. You guys used to hang out and do some stuff for the show. I don't know if you still do or not. So Brian, nothing personal, dude.
Yeah, I have him on every once in a while. Yeah, he's in recovery.
Yeah, just never really cozied up to your music that much.
Yeah.
I love Mitch Bourgeois.
I know. And what a name!
I was just thinking that.
You know, with a guy with a name like that, what right does he have criticizing Brian Duncan?
Wow. Did you get heck for that when you were a kid?
Yeah, actually, and that was where my a number of nicknames came from.
I'll bet.
But the one that
Who knows what I mean? I'm just starting warming up here, buddy. You're lucky I didn't go to school with you.
But the one that stuck, if I hesitate to even use that term, the one that stuck was booger.
Oh,
yeah,
booger.
Which boogers I suppose would stick, but
very good to know.
My basketball coach, my high school basketball coach. I mean, I was a freshman as soon as we met, he said, "Bourgeois, huh? I'm gonna call you Booger," and that was it.
That was it.
That was it. I was Booger for the rest of high school, and it stuck.
Well, Colin's been working out at the Lynn County Fair, and they all have walkie-talkies and everything. Well, one of the guys out there called him Babe the other day, kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen
Babe, like the pig.
Yeah, no, what Hank Hill, that King of the Hill, that cartoon,
right.
And that one guy that works for the propane thing calls everybody honey. He's not gay or anything. He just says, "Hey, how you doing, honey?" Well, this guy called him Babe. He said, "Sure, Babe." Well, then it caught on, and everybody's calling Babe now.
No, that's right.
That's his name, Babe. So I called him Babe the other night, and he's like, "Don't call me that." Selfie.
Yeah,
Look at that.
There we go. I don't know. Nate, lean in there. I got it. This is going to my boss, just so she knows I'm really not played. Hey, get over there behind him, I guess.
Come on, Nate.
All right. All right, perfect.
Wow. No one's ever taken a selfie in the studio before, except for me.
Yeah, except for you.
Yeah.
And you're the guy who sleeps at night listening to your own
Listening to my own voice.
That's right.
Okay. Cecil's not with us because Cecil's on a sabbatical.
We didn't know what to do with Cecil.
I got a guy that emailed me and said, "When are we going to get to the topic?" And I'm like, fine. So the topic for this week is resentment part 2, and this has to do with the 7 deadly sins and the emotional inventory form that we gave both Nathan and Mitch. You can download this, by the way, on the website. It just says download emotional inventory form. And this is such an easy tool and so cool to help you waddle through, wade through, or whatever a resentment you have with a person, an institution, or a principle. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But I'm going to play this song by a guy by the name of Music Dave. He's from the Pacific Northwest. This is called the Resentment Song. And Nathan isn't going to be able to leave at the end of the show because he doesn't want to hear a cheesy song because I'm playing it now.
Good.
So there, you're stuck.
I'm ready.
So in place of Cecil this week, we're going to listen to this song called the Resentment Song. I think you'll get a kick out of it. And then we'll tackle this topic. Here we go.
Bad news, you see, I got a new landlord and he's got some new rules. He says you gotta be out by tonight, so don't you fuss, boy, and don't you fight. I know we going way back to grade school when you pulled down my swim trunks at the public pool. I see my part in this is just holding on to a resentment that ought to be gone. Hey, old girlfriend, I got something to say. I got a new landlord and he's got a new way. He's cleaning house and he says you can't stay, no matter how much I'd be willing to pay. He seems to think that I need a new start since you've been gone for 10 years, but you're still breaking my heart. I guess this time it really is goodbye, 'cause no resentment's ever justified. It's only me that's been killing me by keeping all of this going on, making space for bad memories. I'll never do you nothing but harm. boss man, how you been? Yeah, I know I'm probably late again, but I've been talking to my landlord and he's being so kind. He'll give you exactly 30 seconds to get out of my mind. I know my attitude was always sick and tired, but this resentment is officially fired. Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to speak on my own behalf. I've been in council with my landlord, and we've drawn up a new draft of your eviction notice. It's all there in black and white. Oh, sure, you used to piss me off, but now I've finally seen the light. You were just doing your duty and society a favor. I can't hate you over my bad behavior. It's only me that's been killing me by keeping all of this going on. Making space for bad memories will never do you nothing but harm. Now somebody's angry, they think this song ought to be over. It takes a lot of love and tolerance, though, if you want to stay sober. You may find yourself enduring some long-winded musician who's playing funky chords in alternate positions. Just see your part in this is holding on to a resentment that could be, resentment that should be, resentment that's gotta be gone.
Music Dave, the resentment song. And if he went on with another stanza, I was going to get ticked off. Lordy. The piece in that I really liked, though, was when he referred to the girlfriend. She'd been gone 10 years.
Yeah.
And he's still ticked off. You know, and isn't it true? I'm the only one that's killing me
That's
by holding on to this stuff.
Yep, there you go.
Drinking poison and waiting for somebody else to die.
Yep.
Yeah. So, are resentments as natural as the sun coming up in the morning? What do you guys think? You think it's part of our sin nature?
Okay, when we went to church yesterday,
Yeah.
we're walking down the sidewalk, parked the car, walking down the sidewalk, going to go in the front door. And I almost stepped in a dog turd that was sitting on the sidewalk. I mean, okay, you got all this empty sidewalk. I nearly stepped in the dog poop on the way in. And then I almost stepped in it on the way out. And same one. And it's like, how? Okay, one spot. There's one spot with a big, fresh poop.
Yeah.
And I nearly stepped in it 2 times going back and forth. And it's like, it's just, what is it? The gravity, that it's so easy. It's so easy to get that stuff on you, and then you carry the smell around with you for the rest of the day. And no matter how hard you try to pick it out of the tread on your shoes, it just...
And even if you take your shoe off, you swear you still smell it, right?
and it's like, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's so automatic. You don't even have to try, and it's right there. You step in it, and it may be a very small area when you consider the totality or the all of your life.
Right.
But it seems like it's so easy to step in that one spot.
Wow.
Without even trying.
Yeah.
So for me,
what a great analogy.
I'd have to
So
say.
let me get this straight. You're walking down the sidewalk.
Pull that
step
towards
on
you a
a
bit
turd, and then you have an epiphany that you're going to relate it to resentment on the radio. I don't feel comfortable in this room.
Well, I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm a
Right.
pretty simple guy. It's got to be real life, or it just doesn't work for me.
That's awesome. That is pretty awesome.
That is, wow. That is
But
true.
Is it automatic? Are resentments automatic? I don't know whether it's automatic, but it sure is easy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like our our directional pointer just kind of goes there. You know, I mean, Marcia said something to me the other day. It stung a little bit, but she was absolutely correct. She goes, "You are really critical of people." For a minute, I was going to be critical of her statement, but then I thought, oops, I better not do that. And I said, I'm just making honest observations. That was my justification, you know. But you may be right, but should you say it?
Right.
Right? Mark Lundholm says, you know, if you've got gas and you're in an elevator, I mean, it is the truth, but should you bring it up?
Right.
Excuse me, I'm not feeling well.
That's when you blame it on the guy standing next to you.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Bourgeois.
Mitch Bourgeois.
Mitch Bourgeois.
Okay, so we have this thing called the emotional sobriety inventory form. Part of dealing with resentments or part of learning how to be emotionally sober, which is something that anybody can identify with, whether they're a substance abuser or just a person who's having a difficult time dealing with life on life's terms, is emotional sobriety. And really, emotional sobriety is really what's going on more than the substance abuse. You know, substances have come with their own, you know, inventory of problems, heart disease and stress and all that kind of thing. But are they really the issue? Not really. They're just an inanimate object, you know. A can of beer is just a piece of aluminum with a substance in it. I mean, it's not evil or good or anything.
Doesn't leap out and attack you.
Right.
Like the poop.
So I'm gonna wipe my shoe on you.
So Dr. Alan Berger, who does a show with us once a month called Step by Step Towards Emotional Sobriety, came up with this great emotional sobriety inventory form. It's very simple, and like I said, you can download it on our website. So let's look at this thing. I'm going to try to give you a picture of it, folks. If you go to our YouTube channel right now, a picture of it is popping up, and then we'll leave it up for part of the show. But there are five columns here, and we're going to go straight across, and they are the upsetting event, great or small, your reaction or how you responded to the situation, the unenforceable rule, demand, or claim, the unhealthy dependency, and to stay centered, I need to do what? Okay, so let's just look at this for a minute. We talked last week about some examples of resentments that we've had or are dealing with. So, you know, to leave you as listeners out there without some sort of solution, just to tell you the problem, would be irresponsible. So here's a neat little way that you can help get you through the day and your resentment that you might be dealing with today. First of all, you need to admit, of course, that you have a resentment. Now, I've worked with people, Nathan, maybe you haven't. I know, Mitch, I'm sure you have, that you said, you know, I don't have any resentments. There isn't anybody in my life that I'm holding anything against today. I've dealt with all of it. But then the more time you spend with them, the more you realize, or they will realize that, well, maybe that's not completely true.
My attitude may be colored just a little bit about something.
Right. So let me ask you guys before we tackle this inventory form, and I'll start with you, Nathan. If you were really honest, is there anybody or any principle or institution that you still kind of, you know, when it comes up, kind of ticks you off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mitch?
Easy.
Yeah. Me too. You bet. There was a building in Lebanon on the corner of Tangent and Main Street for years that I used to work at. And driving by it, I would just get mad.
Isn't that weird?
I would just get, and my sponsor told me, you know, when you're done with that resentment, you'll know because you'll be able to drive by that thing and it won't even come up. You know, you may remember the incident,
right,
but it won't control you at all. And one day that happened. It was like, wow, I'm not feeling that way anymore.
It's nice to get to that point.
It is, and sometimes it can take a long time. Now, I'm just gonna cop to one that I experienced the other day at the fair. I'm sitting there and I'm watching Grand Funk Railroad. We're just having a blast. Marsha and I are sitting there, and I look over, and here's this guy that I've known for years. That it's like nails on a chalkboard, and I am telling you that.
See, I didn't even see you. I didn't even know you were there. I mean, that's not even fair.
No, but nobody's around you because you smell like poo.
That's right. That's right.
No, that wasn't me.
But I see this guy, and I am telling you, man, everything inside of me just started to boil. I didn't like it. I didn't want that to be the case. I really didn't. But I found myself having to say, Lord,
yep.
you got to intervene here because I'm getting mad. I had absolutely no ability to, left to my own devices, to get a handle on that thing. I could not do it. I was powerless over it. It came upon me like somebody just hit me from behind with a sledgehammer. And so what did I need to do to stay centered with that? I needed to pray. I had to stop right then and there, and I needed to ask God to intervene because it was going to ruin my whole night. And he did, Okay, so the upsetting event, great or small. We say great or small because sometimes it's the little tiny ones that can really get us going.
That usually happens with my wife. I mean, I mean, honestly, in a marital relationship,
right?
That's where it's very often it's something little that will trip you up for the whole night, or start. It's like the pebble that you push off the edge that starts the avalanche.
Right.
Yep.
So, which one of you guys wants to volunteer to use an example here?
I could think of dozens, but
you want to pick one?
But one in particular that I thought of because of the song.
Right.
When the guy mentions the girlfriend who hasn't been around in 10 years.
Right.
I got one of those that was at the time it was a 10-year. It was literally a 10-year window from the time I last saw her to the time when I did see her. And I thought Karen and I were already married. This was a previous, and there was a 10-year window where we hadn't seen each other. This ex-girlfriend and hadn't seen each other, and when she showed up at the place where I work, she and her husband had moved back into the area, and she went to a women's Bible study, and met somebody that I know, a friend of mine. And topic comes up about, where are you from, da-da-da, and this gal asked, well, do you know Mitch Bourgeois? And she said, yeah. Said, oh, well, he's a friend of mine. He works here in town. And he works, at this place. And so she came down to the store to see me. And instantly, hey, I'm doing just fine. It's a good day at work. I'm just minding my own business. And then all of a sudden, this person comes back into my my personal space.
Yeah, your bubble.
My bubble that I haven't seen in 10 years. And the last time we were together, it was not a particularly good time. We had a very difficult lunch where, it was not a happy camper time.
Right.
And that was the last time we'd seen each other. And I was thrown...
Time machine, huh?
Time machine, baby.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
right back to where I was 10 years previous, and I was an emotional wreck. And I called my wife up and said, you'll never believe what happened. And I said, I was screwed up for the rest of the day.
Okay. All right. That is a really good example. So your upsetting event was this person
seeing somebody that I hadn't seen for 10 years who was an important part of my life at one time.
Right. So there was baggage there that never got dealt with.
And I had no idea. I had no idea that the baggage was there.
That's
interesting.
That's the spinner right there.
Yeah, I had
Didn't
no
even know
idea.
it.
So a conversation that God and I had on the way home was, and this is literally, what I was talking. I said, I thought I had dealt with all of this.
Right.
And what I felt like God told me regarding that was, you did to a certain level, but now we're going deeper.
Wow.
And it's like, oh my goodness, I thought I had dealt with this.
Yeah. Okay, so in the next column, your reaction, how you responded to the situation. So what did you do?
Well, we had a a really funny conversation right there in the middle of the story. What are you doing here? Kind of caught up. I got the story. She invited us over, Karen and I, over to have lunch with her and her family, or meet her husband and meet the kids. And so, immediately I called my wife, told her what was going on, what had just happened. And I said, you better pray for me, because this has got me just emotionally all sideways, and I don't know why. And so my response, my reaction was emotional turmoil. That was my reaction. That was, how I responded to the situation. Was I was just all spun out.
Yeah. Okay, so now here's the piece where this gets really interesting. This is the unforceable rule, demand, or claim.
I hate this part.
Yeah, because now you got to look at you, right?
Right.
And at the bottom of the form, it says, to identify your unforceable rule, answer the following question. What should they have thought or done or said or felt to make you feel more loved, more self-esteem, more respected, etc.? So in that moment, or thinking back,
and
what should she have done?
I think that's probably what it would have gone, or what it would have been, was that our last get together was so unhappy. That I was transported back 10 years earlier to a very ugly lunch. And the unenforceable rule would have been that we would have, that you would have been nice to me,
right,
at that last meeting, or that you would have been, that it would have been a happier time.
I wouldn't be feeling like I'm feeling right now.
That we would have parted, friends, that we would have parted on good terms, that we would have, that our last time to get together would have been with a certain amount of reconciliation, and at least cordial. As it was angry. It was emotional turmoil. On my part, I can't speak for her part,
right,
but that was my perception of it. It was division. It was all of these things that the relationship had fallen apart.
And how dare her just show up in my life?
Yeah. And
really, huh?
And with a smile on her face.
Out of all the places.
That's right.
Okay, so then the next column says unhealthy dependency. So what was...
Wait a minute. You're going to let him off that easy?
Go ahead. Get him, Nathan.
I'm not going to get nothing.
Well, he's not off the hook yet.
I got to work my way through the end of this.
The only reason I bring that up is the other day. I got, after the show, I tell Monty, we talk about the days, and I said something, and he cornered me and pulled out this dang sheet, pinned me to the damn ground. And when I left, I go, man, I'm a sick dude. It wasn't even their fault no more. So I'm like, come on. I guess he is kind of pretty self-aware of his own loser stuff, right?
Boy, am I. Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, you don't do this once and you're done.
No.
Well, that's for darn sure.
Because as long as, in fact, my sponsor says, if I was on the moon all by myself, I would have a resentment because I'd be there.
Because no matter where you go, there you are.
And
exactly.
You asked the question at the beginning of the show, is it kind of a powerless joint? And I imagine he was powerless over that crap.
Yeah. It was there.
If that's part of our sin nature.
It couldn't have clobbered me any more than if I'd have turned around and there'd have been a UPS truck.
And even though you felt you dealt with it, you had no idea that ball was still in your belly, right?
Isn't that wild?
None at all.
It's wild.
10 years.
So what was your... Okay, so the next one says unhealthy dependency. What was it that you were depending on her behavior that was unhealthy?
I think you'd probably have to say that, okay, because I'm... Well, when when I was still pastoring at the church, I had this cartoon up on the wall that it's a dog in a suit, like it looks like a like a golden retriever, the ultimate happy, I love everybody kind of a dog in a suit, and he's on a psychiatrist's couch, and the psychiatrist is talking to him, and you can tell this dog's just totally troubled, and the psychiatrist says, I think you're going to do just fine as a pastor, but you've got to get over the idea that everybody's going to love you. And that's
I don't want to hear that one.
that's sort of my personality,
right?
That I just want everybody to love me.
Yeah,
I just want everybody to just think I'm great. I mean I'm the golden retriever. I love everybody. Everybody's you're my master and I love you. And I just want everybody to be happy with me. And then so when someone's not happy with me.
Yeah.
Which sometimes can be they're just not happy with themselves. It's not that they're unhappy with you.
Yeah. But that's how it feels.
Yeah, that's how it feels. That's how it comes across. But when somebody isn't happy with you or you perceive that they're not happy with you, oh no, my personal peace, my personal worth, my personal tranquility is dependent on whether this other person and I have a good relationship,
right?
And whether
and that's why it's unhealthy.
If everything's okay between us, then it's okay with me.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy about something, then I got to take some responsibility of that, and it must be my fault, and I've got to do whatever I can do to make you happy.
I got to fix it.
I got to fix this, and which goes back to what I mentioned last week, my personal issue. This hero complex,
right?
That I want to be able to fix things, and I want people to be happy, and I want to be there for your support and your encouragement, whatever it takes to keep you doing okay.
Yeah. Do you think, Nathan? Do you think that guys do this more than gals?
Oh yeah, it's definitely kind of part of my DNA. I mean, I'm the protector, especially with my family and people I love.
You're the protector, you're the rescuer.
I want to make everything right. Like, just like my situation with one of my children, I'm so powerless over it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And I mean,
right.
And you wish you could swoop in and do something
if I could do
it.
anything, I mean, I'm on it, but I'm just powerless. It drives me nuts. That strikes a bone inside me that.
Do you think being powerless over it is actually more irritating than not being able to fulfill what you're powerless over? Does that make sense? In other words,
my question, Art,
to realize that I have no control in this situation, for me anyway, can be more irritating to me than actually not being able to fulfill whatever that expectation is to be able to do that thing. In other words, in Cameron's case, it drives me crazy that they're living where they're living, right? But it's not that they're living there that's driving me crazy. It's the fact that I can't change it. Mm-hmm. My powerlessness over it has got me spun more than the fact that they're there. Which means it's about me, not about them. It's about my lack of control, my lack of power. It's not really about his actions at all.
And, I both of those things are linked, I believe, to an instinct. My instinct to take care of my family, be the daddy, do that thing. I know we talk about the God-given instincts, but
the security.
That's part of the game there. So that is definitely. I'm powerless over some of that instinctual stuff for sure.
Some of that for me is going to depend on what the situation is, and I think this is something that I learned over the years of the ministry. Was at some point when I realized that it's really out of my hands, I actually have this huge sense of relief. That I'm able to make the jump.
Right.
That there are things that. It's like, okay, I need to be in the middle of this, and I need to do something about this. And everything in me saying, okay, I got to fix this situation. And then other times it's like, hey, it is so out of my control, and I actually sense a huge amount of relief. These people, the situation, there's nothing I can do. And I go, because I am able to say, this is completely their gig. Yeah. There's nothing I can do. It's their baby, and so I'm out of it.
You think some of that comes from the position, whether we're a father, whether we're a pastor,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is we are, whether we're an employer, that other people have expectations of us that you're a pastor. You're supposed to fix this.
Yeah.
You're a dad. You're supposed to
Yeah.
protect me. You're whatever.
What hat am I wearing in this situation?
Yeah.
If I'm a dad or a husband, then my sense of my call of duty is going to be way different than this is a coworker.
Sure. Okay, so you were depending on her to act a certain way for you to be okay with you and her.
Yeah, because I want everybody to like me, and if somebody doesn't like me, well, that just totally upsets my apple cart.
Okay, so the last column says to stay centered, I need to. Okay, so in other words, what's the solution here? If that were to happen again, recognizing that, what would you need to do to kind of regroup and
never let anybody surprise you? Never allow anybody to take you off guard. That's right. Anybody from your past that you haven't seen in more than a week, they're not allowed to visit you without a phone call first. Right?
Yeah, so put walls up.
That's right. Lots of walls. That's right.
This is supposed to be a healthy thing that you're
I'm
doing.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Since I am a cheater at heart, I have found one that would dang near apply to anyone at the end column there. So if anybody's into cheating, you could write "let go and let God."
Right.
Dang near on every one of those bad boys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
but is that too easy?
No, because to me it is at times. But some of that, I mean, it comes down for me to just realize I'm not powerless over that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then if you got no power over it, you can't own it. The only way we can get some help from that is from something greater than us that has power over it.
So what? Be more specific about let go and let God. Are there certain things that we can do? I mean, everybody has certain things that they do to kind of regroup their connection with our Creator, right? Some people may spend some time in meditation and prayer. Some people may jump into the Word and those things by themselves aren't going to do it because they're just actions.
Yeah. They're tools to get you where you need to be.
But everybody's got some that are a little different. My mom used to, when she'd get real rattled, she would like to go to the coast. We lived pretty close to the coast in California, and it would just kind of help her to. So that was her tool that she did.
When Nate mentions the let go and let God, that's correct. But sometimes we can use that thing. Well, you just need to pray about it, or you just need to, need to trust God. Sometimes we can use that as
a platitude,
or as an excuse for apathy, because there's a fine line in there where you transition from no, I really do care about this, but there's nothing I can do, to you transfer over to I've just stopped caring. I just don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't care about anything. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I detach myself, and that's how I'm staying sane in the middle of an insane world. I just stopped caring. Well, that's not the answer. We can never stop caring.
Well, you're pinning me to the wall because I do that. Well, fine. Nobody's going to take my suggestion.
Right.
I just won't talk.
I just don't care anymore.
Right?
And that's
that's
the weird, that's the gray area that goes on inside of us that nobody can see. Oh, they're just so peaceful. They've got so much serenity about this. No, they just stopped caring.
That takes a lot of work.
And see, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's my point, is that this last thing, to stay centered, for me, it takes so much effort. Because, with a situation like I was in, all right, the first thing is I gotta pull all my ducks back together enough that I gotta call my wife, my primary support person. I'm running to God,
right.
and I am willing to deal with this every time it comes up. Every time it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
As it turned out, as it turned out, in this situation, we had lunch with him and met the kids. You know, it was great fun. Her husband became my best friend.
Really?
Yeah, her husband
Wow.
became my best friend, my mountain climbing buddy.
Yeah.
And he and I would go camping together, go cross country skiing together, we'd go hang off of ropes together. It was just, and we became godparents to their children.
You didn't want to hang him off a rope?
Well, no, it was probably more like maybe he would have wanted to hang me off of a rope. But as it turned out, we became extremely dear friends. But this last one, to stay centered, I have to work my butt off. I have to work my butt off because I cannot just stop caring.
Yeah. And this is where we talk about doing our part. You just can't sit there and expect. It's like looking for a job.
Yeah.
If you're just sitting there waiting for it to come to you, it ain't
No,
gonna
I'm just
happen.
waiting for God to give me a job. Or are you going to get off the couch?
And how many people do we know? Nathan, check it out, man, right? How many people do we know that are in recovery fellowships that seem to think that they're going to have a spiritual awakening as a result of steps they haven't worked?
Or they're miserable as heck and they're running around whining.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you digging into the steps and doing some things?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to be better.
That's right.
Can you help? My thumb really hurts because I keep hitting it with this hammer. Well, give me the hammer. Well, no, I don't want to let go of that yet. But is there another
Move
way?
your thumb. Well, no, I don't want to move my thumb.
I don't mind.
That's right.
And I said something to Nathan a long time ago we were talking about somebody that we were both trying to work with. I said, you know what? I've come to the conclusion that I am no longer going to try to talk other people into saving their own lives. You can't. It doesn't work anyway.
Doesn't work, yeah.
It just frustrates you, And now we're kind of watching the guy kind of, but
Do a little spiraling, yep.
yeah, but it may be the very thing. Marcia, the Lord spoke to Marcia years ago and said, if you don't get out of my way, you're going to kill him. As when it came to my relapse.
Give you the old tough love and draw the line, huh?
Yeah, he said, you got to get out of my way. Because she kept trying to rescue. And
Right.
I've
Consequences are a really great natural teacher.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take our one and only break and come back and let's talk about the 7 deadly sins here for a minute, and then we'll close out with that. And again, folks, you can download this inventory form. It's really simple to do. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Sober Chat app is the first ever location-sensitive mobile chat application designed to instantly connect people who share the common goal of staying sober. Sober Chat will revitalize and revolutionize 12-stepping as we know it. At any time of day or night, you can simply log on and help someone by making phone contact, taking someone to a meeting for coffee, or chat via text messaging on the Sober Chat mobile application. Register now for your download of the Sober Chat app. Visit SoberChatApp.com. That's SoberChatApp.com. The power of sharing is now at your fingertips. Sober Chat, the app that saves lives. Sober Chat is not a replacement for attending 12-step meetings, sponsorship, or working the 12 steps.
As men and women who have recovered from utterly hopeless states of addiction ourselves, we know all too well what it is like to battle addiction daily. We are Origins Recovery Centers. Here at Origins, we have taken that which we have learned along the way, excised anything unhelpful and unnecessary, infused it with the latest in medical research and innovative therapeutic methods, and created what we know to be the absolute gold standard in substance abuse treatment. And Origins provides the most preeminent aftercare and relapse prevention program available in the United States. For a free, confidential clinical assessment, call toll-free 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
Alrighty, welcome back. Talking about resentments, the topic of resentment part 2. And we've been talking about the emotional sobriety inventory form. Bill Wilson, co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, said emotional sobriety is the next frontier. The first frontier was the steps. The second was the traditions. And then he said this was the next frontier, because we have to go deeper than just recognizing that we have an issue with a chemical that is causing problems, because that really isn't the problem. and emotional sobriety is so important. And what do we need to do to maintain that? And it isn't something that we just do by just sitting around doing nothing. And so we made this emotional sobriety inventory form available for you on a PDF file on the website. Just click on it and it'll bring it up. You can print it out. Okay, so there's a thing, and Nathan kind of touched on this, called our instincts. And in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book that Alcoholics Anonymous printed out years ago, it refers to 3 God-given instincts: social, sexual, and security. And under security, you can put emotional and material. And that these are God-given. They're natural. Social, I mean, we have this social instinct to be social. I mean, otherwise, where would we be? We would just be alone. Adam would be still walking around just Adam. As sexual, we wouldn't be able to multiply and have children and continue to grow as people if we didn't have that. And security, it's natural to want to protect your family and to have emotional security and feel okay about who you are and all that kind of thing. But what we do because of sin is those things get thwarted and perverted and threatened. And we feel like one of the reasons we get resentments is we feel like one of those instincts is being threatened. Mm-hmm. And we forget it's just a threat. A lot of times fear is we're afraid of something that 99.9% of the time isn't going to happen anyway.
Yep.
But we'll build a whole case around it. And how many of us have done that? Guys do it particularly when it comes to finances, because we think that we have to protect and save and make sure everything's secure and, that kind of thing. And so I came up with a little formula years ago where I had the people I worked with, my sponsees, make 4 circles. The first one was our instincts. That was I for instincts, our God-given instincts. These are totally right and natural. And the second one was fear of those being threatened. So the upsetting event, like in Mitch's case, your reaction to it, was really based in some form of fear that you weren't going to be okay with you, and then what happens is if we stay in that, we fall into, and the Bible talks about this, it's nothing that the big book came up with, the 7 deadly sins: pride, greed, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, or sloth. And sometimes we'll fall into multiples of those. So Mitch, in your case, which one of those 7 deadly sins was starting to rear its ugly head?
Probably anger.
Anger,
because you feel like somebody was unjustly, like you were unjustly treated, in a way, by somebody, and it wasn't your fault. It wasn't my fault. I didn't, do this. I didn't do that, and you're angry with this person because of. That's the first thing that wants to come up. I mean, first thing for me was, you got to be kidding. Is this really who I think it is?
Yeah. So pride was in there too then?
Yeah, probably so.
Right.
Well, and I think I don't know, they're probably like Siamese twins because your pride is attached to so many things.
You bet.
The reason I get angry is because I feel like something about me has just been attacked. And by golly, you better never call that into question because, I'm this and I'm that. And anything that threatens your pride, it's like pride marshals all of these other things to its defense.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
That my ego, if anything threatens my ego, then ego calls up all of these other defense mechanisms to protect it.
Yeah.
Sounds like he just described the process of getting a resentment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He just used the word pride, but sounds like...
Yep.
You know, and I think in that particular situation, you know, pride, self-protection, you know, all of a sudden defenses come up, and because this person injured you, you felt unjustly, you know, treated in some way. I mean, a million different things can, and for me, literally a million different things came flooding into my brain all at once. To the point where it's like I'm at the coast and I'm wandering around in the waves, and you turn around and here comes this great big thing that just takes you out, and you're spinning around in the surf. You know?
Oh, gee. Yeah. And so when you got your instincts, fear of them being threatened, and then you fall into one or more of the 7 deadly sins, what is birthed? Resentment. And resentments kill.
A bellyache.
Yeah. and a lot of times resentments that are undealt with will get shoved down, and then 10 years later.
Not even seen.
Yeah.
But see, that is our... See, that's why resentments are so important, because it is the... Here's an example. Mitch is 10-year buried, had no idea it was there. But trust me, I'll bet a dime to a dollar that his new wife, you know, his wife now, Karen...
Right.
That
my second wife.
Yeah, whatever. How that works. Yeah. I'll reword that. His wife.
His first and last wife.
His first and last wife.
Some of his relationship was probably affected because of that relationship.
Absolutely.
Without even knowing it happened. So our resentments and our things, some of them we don't even see, they are our crutches. I mean, they are our enemy.
So your sexual instinct could be threatened.
Sure.
Your romantic relationship with your spouse ain't happening because you're ticked off at all womankind for the next 3 weeks because of so and so.
Or, you know, to bring some of my wife's experience into this, you know, Karen now sees how I am reacting to somebody who in my history was a very significant part of my life. And she's seeing how strongly I'm affected by this other woman who has suddenly come back into my life, and I'm all screwed up.
Yeah.
And she's going, what's he feeling?
Yeah.
What's he thinking? What's going on inside of him? Are there emotions there that obviously are, you know, what kind of emotions is he feeling?
Right.
And so then that colors how my wife then interacts with this person now that she has just met.
You see the power and a resentment you didn't even know you had in your belly?
It spreads.
That you thought you dealt with?
And it can affect how she responds to you. Because those things, those fears, real or imagined, right? And we talked about our perception is our reality, whether it's true or not. You know, maybe she's thinking, well... how does he feel about me? How does he, you know, and that kind of thing. And then pretty soon and then she's reacting to one of your daughters in a way that's inappropriate because she's angry about, and it goes on and on and on and on.
See how people are driven by those turkeys?
Yep.
See why AA and a lot of, those are the enemy. Not that being angry is the enemy, but it's how they are literally poison.
Yep.
And you think of a guy that runs around and he's real cautious. Would serve time in the war. You think about his experiences how that has just changed everything in his life. Some of the things he's angry about. He don't look at certain races a certain way. He just can't help it. It's just controlled his whole life. And all of a sudden he is the person who he is because
of all this
have
stuff.
Poisoned him and driven him.
Man.
If you think about that stuff, that's kind of that's a pretty powerful thought. That's huge.
It's just there's millions of intertwined strands of this web that all attached. They color everything we do.
Wow. And so we need God. We need God more than ever. We because without Him, not only are we powerless over the things that so easily beset us, we're powerless over other people's stuff, and that's a lot of it is the bottom line. We are powerless over other people's choices. Mitch and I were talking on the phone. We can suggest, we can influence, we can hinder, we can do all sorts of things, but bottom line, at the end of the day, another person's decision is their decision. If they own it or not own it is not on us.
Yeah,
it's not.
and what unenforceable demand or rule do we have in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's the key for me. That's the biggie. That's the biggie. Because that's really the only power I can identify. I've told you my ABC, but I can identify it, I can think about it, and then I can find my unenforceable rule, demand, and claim.
Yeah.
And then that's really the only power I have in it. And then what I do to reach out and try to get some, whatever it's pray, whatever I decide to do. But that's the only power we have against it.
That's right. That's right. Well, guys, we're out of time. This has been fun.
Great fun. Thanks for inviting me back.
Yeah.
Mitch Bourgeois.
Until our next broadcast, my friends. This is
That's right.
Monty Man, Booger.
Just flicking the booger.
AKA the booger.
We're wishing God's perfect serenity for you.
Ciao, people.
Bye-bye.
When it all came crashing down, there was only darkness all around. But in the distance I could see a flame. There's so much more to living in your world. Savior, what you did for me. You gave me something I want everyone, I mean everyone to see. When we stumble and it all goes wrong, only you can make it right. So I say, I'm learning to be the light. I'm learning to be the light. I'm learning to be the light. I'm learning to be the light.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Be the light.
Kitty, 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 meow.
After